What's happening, guys? So today's video is going to be me redoing my roof liner in the SV6. So this is going to start sort of the build series. I've got some suede wrap for the trims. I'm going to do all the vertical trims, SU6. I have a Starlight kit ready to go in. Haven't used anything like this before. Interested to see how this goes. I had a quick look inside, like just plugged in the cigarette lighter, looks pretty cool. 80 bucks on Amazon. It was, I think it was 30 bucks for 500mm by 1.5, so 20. I do have 2 rolls of that. Got some aerosol can to help adhere the new roof liner, and glue gun to help adhere the Starlights through the roof, which will probably take the most time of all. For the roof liner, I've actually only ever done a ute with my older brother, so I'm not exactly sure how it's going to go. His one turned out alright. He just ran out of the aerosol can when we were doing it, so that's why I've got 2 of these. I just bought them off eBay as well. It's a Permatex one. So hopefully that's more than enough to get this done, but that's why I got 2 cans, just to make sure. Just gonna start pulling these fake Starlights out that help hold the roof liner up, and then that way I can just get this old fabric off. Chuck this out in the bin. Now the fun part. I'll just see if I've got a card of some sort to like scratch it off. I'm just going to use a old wrap squeegee, and yeah, that's perfect.
As I'm editing this, I end up searching up how to remove this a little bit faster, and apparently if you use rubber thongs, it actually makes things so much easier.
I've just taken the little brake light cap out of the end of the liner. It's just 2 little hex bolts, so just makes my life a little bit easier. Okay, so now that that's done, I'm going to get the sheet and try and sort of cut out a nice enough shape. I do obviously want some overhang on side to side, so that way I can sort of like help encourage it into place. I've just got this out of the plastic bag. I'm going to cut this into shape. It's got a nice little barrier, so you can obviously hold on to that nicely. So I'm going to get Chloe over here to give me a quick hand to hold on to it. So if you jump over there, then what we're going to do is we just sort of like put it in line with it, and then I should have the right shape, so just hold it up, right? It looks like it nicely molds already, which means that it shouldn't be too hard for me to like put it in place. That's gonna look sick.
It's very nice.
The only real spots that I have issues with is making sure that it sort of like stays in there, and then at the same time staying sucked down and then into these handle areas. But because I feel like it's got that little bit of membrane in it, it sort of allows you to like smother it into the position. So hopefully it goes alright, but you never know until you give it a go.
So when I was doing this, I was just spraying the adhesive into small sections. I just wanted to make sure that I got the liner down as best as possible, but I also wanted to make sure there was glue in each section as I was going. And as you can see, I'm using a wrap squeegee to make sure that I cross streak, so that way I get the best pressure on the liner as it's going down. And in my eyes, it worked out really well.
Okay, so thanks to Chloe, I've got this down pretty much. There's only a few small spots that I've probably just done a little bit too much glue. I'm pretty happy with that. There is a few corners of the roof liner that are missing, or at least damaged. I think this one's got a damaged one. This one actually is not damaged, don't know how. That one's damaged, but that one's missing. So hopefully when it's in the car, it's not too much of an issue. Besides pretty much the glue spot over here, that handle, and a small spot in this handle. Very happy with how that's come out. Before I give it a final trim, I'll probably just get some spray and just give it a quick once more across the edge with the glue, so that way it all sticks and adheres nicely. Now that I've got pretty much all the edging sort of done, now it's down to the probably one of the most time-consuming parts of the process. So I'm going to pull all these off. I'm going to map out how I want to do it. I'll probably put in 125 corners. So I'll probably just get a texture or something and then just do a line. So I've mapped out my little cross section. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bigger texture and I'll just sort of like dab it how I want it, and then I'll have a quick assessment of how I'm feeling. So pretty much my plan of attack is to sort of like scatter it as much as possible. I've just had a little texture. I've tried to make it as prominent as I can so I can sort of see what my pattern's looking like. I'm fairly happy with it. I've got a nice majority of it. I'm just trying to make sure. The upside is obviously when I get these little extra end ones, then obviously it's sort of, I might have a few extra spots available, but pretty happy with that. I feel like there's a nice pattern in a lot of spots. And hopefully it pays off. I feel like I should get one in here. So I might just like cross out one or two and then just sort of like chuck something there.
So if you're going to do this, I would recommend doing full circles and making sure that they're clear and visible, because when I was doing the holes later on and actually feeding the threads through, it actually became harder and harder to find.
Okay, so I've pretty much mapped it out. So I've done 124 on these two, and then I've done 126 on these two. So what I'm going to do is get the cables out. I'm going to start trying to section these off, so that way I've got the equal amount for all sections, and then I will start cracking on. I'm not going to bore you with counting these up to 125 a piece, but I will cut to it. See you in a second. After a million cable ties, this is just some of it. There's so many fucking cable ties. I have finally managed to get this into 4 sections. I'll be honest, it's probably taken me pretty much like 2.5 hours to count this. Now that I've done that, I have cable tied them, so at least they're all somewhat into good enough sections. First up, I've got to pretty much figure out which end of the line I want to start on. I believe I'm going to start at the front, but then again, it wouldn't be too bad if I start at the back, so that way I can sort of like get that first section done. Yeah, I might start at the front, because I'm gonna have to try and mount the control box somewhere at the back. So yeah, I'm gonna start at the front. That's all fun and games doing this. That's why when people charge you so much, there's a reason. There's so much labor in this shit, but hopefully it's worth the payoff. So I'm gonna get this started. When I figure out what I'm doing, I will cut back to it. Bro, honestly, anyone that does this is worth their weight in fucking gold, because this is a fucking shit show. I'm genuinely actually gonna pull all this out and redo it. Bro, because I don't even know what's fucking in. I'm finding strands that I've fucking put in, and now I've got strands everywhere, so honestly. I got a call from Scott from LSN Wraps up in Queensland, and he sort of gave me a few pointers on how to do a few things, but yeah, I definitely fucking give him a lot of credit for doing this pretty much all the time, because this is a fucking nightmare. But makes me appreciate people that do it so much more. So it is fucking like 10 o'clock at night on Saturday. I'm completely fried. Normally I'm like editing and sort of like just, I would chillax just a little bit in between my sessions, but yeah, so this is probably why you didn't get a video last weekend, because this is a fucking shit show. Definitely feel it. And then you see shit like this and it's just, bro, that is disgusting, mate. I'm gonna pull them all out. That is a lot better than it was before. I'm pretty happy with that. It's a lot better. Obviously, I think the only spot that I sort of like wasn't 100% happy with is this one. Scott did recommend sectioning it up into like pretty much like 8. He does 8, so 1, 2, 3, and 4s. Now I'm going to split this into 2 groups and do 1 and 2, so that way I can sort of have 1 for here, 1 for here. Okay, so it's a couple of days later. Did obviously fall short on the Saturday in regards to time, but I just wanted to start back up and have a quick look at how I went the other day. Honestly, so far so good. Definitely a lot of work that goes into this, but also thanks to Scott at LSN Wraps for this awesome idea to have it like cable tied, because otherwise this would be a lot more of a schmozzle. It also gives me a chance to sort of like move it around nicely without potentially snapping any of these cables. So I'm gonna jump back into it now, and I should have that done in the next probably 2-ish hours, I reckon. Then I'll just double check everything, and then we'll start getting the interior out of the SV6 and go from there.
I'm using a 1.5mm drill bit just to make sure that I've got enough clearance for the leads to go through. And when I'm pulling the leads through, I'm just making sure that I actually pull the whole thread through, just so to make sure that there's no bunching on the top side of the liner. And it also makes for a cleaner job as well.
That's pretty much all of the strands side of things done. So I'm just gonna do a quick double check, and I'm gonna start getting these glued down.
When I'm doing this, I'm doing a little dab to the point where it catches the line, but also enough on the liner to the point where it actually adheres in both spots.
Now that that's done, we're going to pretty much start jumping into the car, pull that car apart, and get to the stage where we can just start slapping this in and go from there.
So while I'm dropping the roof liner and getting that ready, I'm actually taking the A, B and C pillar trims out so that I can get them ready for wrap.
I've got all the trims from the interior that I'm going to be wrapping. I've just done a quick tester piece on this one to see how it sort of like dives into the gap. Should still hold in really nicely. Then the 2 front and 2 back, they're pretty straightforward. They're a piece of piss. But yeah, definitely these ones are going to be a little bit more trickier, but because the interior vinyl actually wraps around nicely, perfect. Shouldn't be much of an issue at all, especially because it's not like it's a deep dive. Like these are going to be a close call, but like this one here is pretty straightforward because it dives nicely. This one's probably the only one that actually is a little bit painful because it's got a roll in 3 different angles. Because you got here, here, and here. But that's all part of the fun. Let's crack on.
Using this vinyl is actually fairly straightforward. Obviously, if you've done any sort of wrapping before, it is very similar. You have a little bit of play with it. You can actually pull it a little bit, you can stretch a little bit, and then it just hugs a little bit better. The adhesive I find is really good to work with, and also after it's sort of applied for a little bit, it actually stays there. And as far as I'm aware, it hasn't failed yet on me. I did forget to get a video of them afterwards, so here is a little snippet. When dropping the liner, you got to make sure that you pull the old cables off of the liner, which can be tricky at times, but it can be done.
Okay, so now that this liner's out, this one's ready to go in. I've got to get the one from this but back onto that one, and then it can go straight back in.
So when you're installing the roof liner back into the car, you just got to be careful not to snap the roof liner by folding it too much, but also damaging the corners.
Okay, so the roof liner's in now. There's a lot of strands. going to start fucking stipping these now. I got all the handles in just so that the liner is held in place, but also got the B-pillars in as well, just so that way it's sort of supported. And then once I've got those all snipped, I can finish putting all the trims back in besides the passenger front. That's where I'm going to run the lead and try and get some power from the fuse box below.
So a cheeky little trick that Scott taught me was when you're cutting the strands, cut them on different angles, and that way it'll give more of a realistic effect of stars. So now I'm just putting the interior back together to finish the job.
And the interior is back together. Holy shit. This is phenomenal. Definitely a fun job, but not for the faint-hearted. And lucky for me, I don't mind the fiddly shit at times. Coming from like a wrapping trade, this is fairly similar. You just can't get the shits, otherwise you're gonna fuck yourself over. Yeah, honestly, coming from like pretty much fixing up a saggy roof liner to now a suede roof liner, and to the fact that I've done this myself with Chloe as well, that's pretty cool. To go from saggy failed roof liner to this, worth every second of pain. I was expecting to try and get this done in one night, which was silly, but honestly, very happy. This is insane. Like, yeah, it may only be a little bit of a touch, but the fact that I've done like I've done the roof liner, done the interior trims, all in suede, it's already brought the car to life a little bit more than I thought it would. Yeah, for something that I just wanted to give a go, I'm very happy with the outcome, and honestly definitely recommend doing it. Makes you appreciate how much goes into these, and I appreciate Scott for giving me a quick call the other week, and just to give me a few little pointers of how to do things a little bit better. Really worth his weight in gold. And besides the fact that I've got to hardwire it to the fuse box, it's done. I'll do that sometime during the week or next week. Just wanted to make sure that it worked and that I was happy with it before I hardwire it. But yeah, definitely turned out better than I imagined, and honestly can't wait to do it again, because I probably will do it again on my other roof liner, and that way I can sort of offload that one with a Starlight kit in it. I do plan on doing the 2 dash trims in the following episodes, along with the steering wheel surrounds. And then I've got a new driver seat coming this weekend, so I'm going to go pick up that from a mate up in Tuggerah. So that way I'll be able to have a new seat with a good cushion. Slowly but surely going to get this car back into tip-top shape. There is a chance that I have a set of airbags for the rear coming in a couple of weeks. We'll see about that. And then I'll get some coilovers for the front, just to sort of give it some nice stance. But also, who doesn't love a bagged car, bro? Honestly, you just can't beat it. There's a lot I want to do, and it also might be some tacky stuff, but also might be some cool stuff. So be sure to jump into the comments below and recommend what you would like to see, and let's keep moving forward. Just want to say thank you for watching. If you could drop a like, a comment, and a subscribe, that'd be hectic. Thanks guys, appreciate it.